I guess I'll start.
Okay.
So what fans, longtime fans, new fans, people who haven't even seen the show before, they can definitely look forward to a standalone experience that really encompasses a lot of what the show has to offer. Amazing animation. That's definitely one of the highlights for me is that it took them a while to get this movie out, but they really took their time to make this probably one of the best animated films I've seen in a long time, personally.
Yeah, it's 90 minutes give or take of like wall to wall volleyball action. There's so much going on so quickly and it's so exciting, but it's like a yeah, it does tell a whole story. Ken from Kenma's perspective, it's the beginning to end of sort of his emotional journey. But for people, for longtime fans, it's a match that they've been building up to since the first season. I mentioned this in another interview, but that Hinata says to Kenma where he wants him to say something else other than whatever at the end of a game. He wants him to feel joy or sorrow or anger or something. And so that's kind of like, that's a that's a storytelling seed, you know. And so I think the payoff for that moment is a really, really, really big part of the movie. It's so funny because I did not expect to like, not that I didn't think the movie was going to be good, but I didn't expect to like it quite as much as I did, that I wanted to watch it again as soon as I finished it. And I didn't expect to cry 3 times. But that moment is a really, really, really good one. And yeah.
And yeah, likewise, this movie is such an emotional roller coaster. I've only been able to see the parts that I recorded personally, so I didn't get a fancy early screen or anything like that, so I'm having to wait like everyone else. And I really can't wait to see everything put together. Me and Clint playing off of each other. I had recorded before Clint, so I didn't get to hear a lot of Clint's performance, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Um, uh, but like as for like particular lines and particular moments that really stuck out to me, I mentioned likewise in another interview, but like there's a moment where Hinata just has this huge like scream, this very emotionally charged just roar. And I remember going through the recording process and we finished, and for stuff like for stuff like sports and yelling and high energy stuff, they want to save a lot of that more intense stuff for the end so that we don't blow our voice out early on in the session.
Mhm.
By the time we got to the end of the session, we had moved on from that scream a long time earlier on, and I was happy with it, and so was the director. But I felt like I really have another one in me for that one. I really want to take this one again and really try it and go for it. And they were like, "All right, as long as you feel fine, we'll do it. We're both happy with how it is, and if it doesn't work out, we'll keep it as it is." But like in that moment, I was like, no, I really want to give everything I have to this. And I feel like it really paid off. And as soon as I finished recording it, I was like, that's that. And it was super satisfying and amazing. And I really hope that the amount of emotion that I was able to put into that, like cuts through to the audience.
I, I'm happy to see you're a fellow screaming enthusiast, because that's one of my favorite things when I get to like really do this just like from the soul kind of yell. And but I keep getting cast as low key characters. Sort of. Kenma does get to yell once in this movie, and it was oh, ugh, so good, so good, so good.
I love
So
screaming. I love screaming into a microphone.
Yeah.
Me, I didn't have the benefit of getting to see the movie beforehand, so a lot of the preparation that I was able to do was just going back and listening to some of the old scenes from the TV series. Um, Hinata as a character is one of the characters that most fans tend to recognize me for whenever I go to conventions, and so they're always asking me to do like quotes and stuff from the show, and so like his voice and his characterization is very much like locked into my brain. Like it's always been like something I could like jump back into from just like a technical side of things. Um, but in terms of preparing for this film, I didn't get the chance to watch anything other than like whatever trailers they had already released in Japanese. So I was flying blind, but also like I loved being able to work with the director to collaborate and find these moments where we can find different aspects of Hinata as a character. Like I said, his default state is very much like something I can just slip back into like an old glove or something, but it's finding those dynamics within that base character so that it can have multiple sides to somebody that isn't just one note or two-dimensional or anything like that. And I feel like we really worked our best to find those moments while working on the film.
Yeah, and in this case, I had the immense fortune I worked on the script adaptation, so I got to watch the movie ahead of time, and I got to really look at every line. But Kenma is a character that has to do a lot with a little sometimes. He'll have a very,
Mhm.
very, very muted response to something, but it has to say a lot, and so I was so fortunate that I was able to look at lines that I felt like, oh, this is going to be really important and really put a lot of thought into how exactly I was going to say it because like it's really an entire emotional journey for Kenma and this like there's just so many ups and downs and so many different feelings to get across in such a short time period in the movie. And so I was so thankful to be able to uh, go over that and really put a lot of thought into it because I really wanted to level up my performance for this movie because I was making the move from a supporting character to a sort of protagonist, and this is the first movie I've been a part of that's in theaters. As Kim as a setter, we could have Hinata play against Kageyama, which would be fun.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's a good point of drama.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like Ken like and Karasuno has so many all-star characters as well, but there's so many all-stars throughout the show. I would love to see a team with again, like you said, probably against Tobio, Kageyama. Maybe even on the other team is gonna be Ushiwaka,
Mhm,
as like their ace to like counter to Kenma and Hinata. Maybe on our team we'll also have like that crazy guy from Fukurodani, Bokuto. He's a lot of
yeah,
fun. That
yeah.
would be a pretty killer person to have on the team. I'm trying to think. Uh, there's obviously Nishinoya from Karasuno, the ultimate libero. We can't have a
Mhm.
team without our ultimate rolling thunder boy. And then I just rotate around with a bunch of other. I can name names for forever, but
Mhm.
like I don't know if I could like whittle it down to just a main
Right,
team.
right. But yeah, I kind of want to do like, we haven't ever seen, yeah, Kenma, I want Kuro on the other team and
Mhm,
Kageyama on the other team so we
for
can
sure.
play our well, I don't know. I don't know if I'd call Kageyama a friend exactly.
They're friends. They're
He's
friends,
a
partners in
frenemy.
crime. Yeah,
Uh-huh,
but
uh-huh,
he's the only friend that Hinata goes gremlin mode against, though.
uh-huh.
He'll tease him.
I don't know if that might be the closest thing Kageyama has to a friend.
Probably, yeah.
That
For a
one's
shout.
boy, yeah. Mine
Uh,
would be crying and giving up, actually. It'd be called the go home.
the go. Oh no! Oh no! That you may have had about this film going into it, either as a fan or as somebody who's never seen the series before and are curious to watch it. It lives up to every expectation, just from what I've seen. And like I said, I've only seen the scenes that I've been a part of, and those scenes alone have been like more than enough for the wait, more than worth the wait, for fans of the series. So I would say expect like peak HAIKYU.
Definitely. Yeah, it completely exceeded my expectations. It was so good. And the pacing of the movie is insane. It's very, very packed. And they adapted the material extraordinarily well. And yeah, I think I can say it. It's okay to raise your expectations. And the movie was such a massive, massive success. I don't remember. I wrote it down. I think they were at like 7 million or something tickets sold or whatever, and people were going to see it and see it again and again, and it kind of warrants that. So I think fans who have been anticipating it for a long time, it's going to be a phenomenal payoff, whether you see it, dubbed or subbed. But
Mhm.
for people who have stuck with the dub or people who have been introduced to the series through the dub, I'm so happy that we were able to return, and I'm so happy that they've stuck with us on this.
First, or should I go
Oh,
ahead?
you go ahead.
Okay. I've been doing a lot more conventions over the past few years, and I think I mentioned it in this interview and many others, but HAIKYU tends to be the number one thing that fans tend to recognize me for. So like I've had plenty of amazing experiences with fans, and I really don't think I can pinpoint it to any one individual one because there's so many, but there are a few where like fans will come up and uh because of the context, they don't like either catch that I'm like Hinata for like a second, and then as soon as that snaps in their brain, like, oh, you're the guy I've been like watching this whole time. And like sometimes it's like funny, sometimes it's like really emotional. I think I had one fan like start crying as soon as they realized who I was, and I'm like, it's always like super touching to realize that like the work that we get to do it is actually like emotionally resonating with some of the fans out there, and that's one of the most fulfilling things that I can ever experience as an actor, because with voiceover it's not like theater and even on camera where you can play off of each other. It's just you in a solo room working with the director and the engineer, and you're kind of acting into a void, so to speak. So unless like with the upcoming theater uh with the upcoming theater run, it's one of those experiences that we rarely get to have where we can see like the impact that it has, and getting to meet fans and all that stuff. Like it really validates a lot of the work that we put in to this stuff.
That's true. We don't even see each other very much.
Exactly.
You really are kind of in a sort of void. I am a hermit, so I haven't done conventions in a long time. But I think that the best fan interaction I had was someone who it's a little hard to answer the question about, like, people who want to get into voice acting, but I will say something personally. Um, don't just think of yourself, even if that's what you want to do, as a voice actor or as an anime actor. Really, really uh, cast a wider net in terms of your experience and your aspirations, and just what kind of just keep your mind open and try to enrich yourself in as many ways as possible. Don't get laser focused, because all of those different things, all those different experiences, are what's going to make your performance something meaningful. That's going to not just be an echo of things that you've heard before. You don't want to think like this is what anime voice acting sounds like,
Mhm.
and then try to mimic that. You're
Emulate.
never, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because you get this sort of like inbred situation with performances if you do that. And so I think you need to challenge yourself and reach past that, and think about, um, not just ways to do what people have done before, but ways to push beyond that, and really really be creative, because it's that sort of thing that's going to give you success in the end, more so than just learning how to do it based on a preconceived notion.
Just wanted to just quickly say that, like, to Clint's point, I have a theater background. I was somebody who wanted to get into acting in whatever avenue I could. Voiceover just happened to be what worked out the best for me personally, and one that I really very much wanted to do. But much to Clint's point, find other avenues as well to build up your personality, and different experiences that you can draw on when performing. From the more meat and potatoes actionable advice, I like to give some sort of actionable advice because it's what I always wanted when I was a kid. Um, is to just start doing acting, whether that's
Mhm.
taking a class, finding a community theater near you and getting involved in a play or a musical. If you're in college, maybe reach out to your theater department if they have one. If they don't, reach out to a community theater. Go online. There are more opportunities online than ever before, and getting into voice acting in particular, is more accessible than it's ever been. With online media, even if it's not anime, if you want to do indie games, if you want to do YouTube indie animation, find people that have a similar passion and just work with them to create your own opportunities and get that experience so that eventually you can have a body of work to rely on. And even that might, it doesn't, I can't promise anything, but that could eventually lead to you getting those professional opportunities and working on the projects that you've always wanted to. um and I could go on forever about this, but I'll leave it there.
Yeah, no, that's I just want to echo that because it's super good advice because you can't ever guarantee that you're going to have a professional opportunity. But,
Mhm.
you know, the world can stop you from acting in a certain thing, but the world can't stop you from acting in general. You know,
Mhm.
if that's what you want to do, you can act. And that's what you should do if that's really what you want. So I think, you know, just finding a place where you can do it is, yeah, that's super, super important. Really, really good advice.
Thank you.